So one of the things I now want to publicly task this graduating class to, I think one of the things you should focus on is a Nigeria where such Nigerianisms don't happen to us. And, even what's going on now in the Musa Yar'Adua Center, I think is indicative of a larger issue, which is this idea of Nigeria happening to us. And it doesn't matter how privileged you are, Nigeria can happen to you in ways that can have devastating consequences for you, which I think is why it's so important that programs like this exist, to talk about a different kind of leadership, a leadership that doesn't just think of me and my own and my people, but thinks collectively of a larger Nigeria, a Nigeria where Nigeria doesn't have to happen to any of us. I've always said that it doesn't matter that one is relatively privileged or you have a little bit more than other people. A society that has massive inequality is a society that is unsafe for everyone. It's also a society that's uncomfortable and it's reasonable people. Life is so difficult in Nigeria now that I can only tell you I can tell you about the increase in relatives who need help. I don't want a country like that. I want a country where you don't have to help people, where people have the means of to be sufficient, where people are not owed pensions, and even those pensions themselves are insufficient, but they're still owed pensions, where the Wi-Fi connection doesn't randomly go off all the time, where things just work. Nigeria can be so much better than it is, and I think your program, even the existence of this program, I think in some ways is an act of hope. And by being in this program, you're participating in this kind of collective faith in hope. And if I'm sounding a little bit religious, it's because, of course, we know that religion is such a central factor in our country. And one of the things I would like to urge you today to do, for those of you who believe in God, is to please act more and talk less about God. There is so much talk about God. People in this country will steal money and tell you we thank God. I think it's so important for us to think about faith as a verb. And we all learned in primary school that the verb is a doing word. It's so important for us, if we're going to have a difference in leadership, if we're going to create this new Nigeria that I think most of us have imagined, it's so important that we resolve, let's not talk God, let's act God. Let us, through the things that we do, show the faith that we have. I cannot tell you how tired I am of hearing talk about God. And when you look outside and beyond the talk, there's really nothing to back it up. So I want to go back to the story that I hadn't finished telling you about a stove. I'm not quite sure at what point it cut off, but works in logistics for an international company in Lagos. Her job is to help expatriates move into their homes. And so she's talking about how some expatriates are often quite difficult. And so I asked her, tell me one of the examples of how these expatriates are difficult. And she said, well, we set up a stove in a woman's kitchen, and three of the stove that had 4 burners. 3 of the burners worked, 1 did not. And the woman called and was complaining, my 1 burner doesn't work. And this person who was telling me this story, this Nigerian, then says, it's okay now, at least 3 of them work. And I remember just being struck by this story. And I thought, no, but it's not okay. And the fact that this woman has complained about this fourth burner that doesn't work doesn't make her difficult. It makes her a reasonable person. And in some ways, I think it shows how low our standards are. How we need to change what we define as a problem, what we define as okay. And I can't tell you how often I get frustrated by certain kind of what I call a casual anyhowness. And we see it in all kinds of use. I see it in the person who I call to paint my house in Lagos. And the paint, the edges are very raw. And you say to him, Oga, see, and he says, but madam, it's okay now. But it's not okay. It's not okay. And I encourage you, and I think that the fact that you applied to this program, that you've graduated, and I'm also struck by one of the things on the website where it says, if you want to apply to this program, please check your life to make sure that you can commit, which is something I found actually very, very inspiring and endearing. And so the fact that you have checked your life and you've committed to this program and you're graduating means that. And so please continue to say it's not okay. And also continue to act it. One of the things I've learned is that feel encouraged. Change often happens by one person taking action. One small inspires somebody else to act, and then inspires somebody else to act. And that's how change is. And so don't think there's nothing that is too small. Sometimes it's by deciding that you're going to opt out of something. And it can be something as simple as saying, I'm no longer going to throw things out. I remember once traveling we were traveling to my hometown in Anambra State. And you would just on the road and you would just see people just stretch out their hands and throw rubbish out of the window. And I would think, what if we all chose not to do that? It's a small step. What if you come around you? Not am I not going to throw rubbish out, but you should not throw rubbish out. And the reason you should not do it is because it's not okay. It's not okay for all of us. Why would we want to live in filth? And so, really to conclude, I again want to say congratulations to all of you. I regret that I'm not there with you. I had hoped that I would be able to be there physically. And I'm sorry that I'm not, because it seemed so joyful. I saw all the dancing, the music, everything just seems really wonderful. And I congratulate you. And I really do, really fervently hope that for you, this is only a beginning. And that what Auntie Obi Kwesili and all the people around this program, I really hope that their vision is something that we will come to see come alive in our lifetime. Thank you.